in today's quick response video, I'm going to be talking about how long you should spend on court doing the different kind of activities. I'm going to change the view in a second onto me writing in the board on a piece of paper, so if that's of interest, stay tuned. Okay, so the question was really related to how much time do you spend on court doing different things. So what we'll do is we'll just sort of title this Time on Court. That's what we're looking at here. And we're going to sort of separate things down into, we're going to separate them into competitive games and we're going to talk about maybe practice games. So we'll sort of put that here. Practice games. We'll talk about squad sessions, which should of course be, you know, getting on court with other players and doing routines and those kind of things. Solo sessions, solo practice we'll call that. We'll also talk about fitness work. Now that could be, you know, strength, agility, everything really. We'll talk about coaching. All right, and then we'll talk about the last one would be mental. I'm just going to call it mental work. It's maybe not the best title, but that's the title we're going to use. All right, now what we'll do is we will talk about some different groups. Well, who could be doing those? So the first group that we talk about would be the pros. Okay, so we'll put that there. The second group would be team club players. So we'll put that group there. And then the third group will be regular club players. Regular club, doing this at a funny angle. And then the fourth group would be improver. And then the last group would be beginner. All right, so let me just draw some lines there. I should have maybe done that earlier. So we'll just draw some lines across here. I did think about just printing one of these, but I wanted to sort of, you know, talk to you as I was making it. So I decided that this would be sort of the best way. So what we'll do is we'll do that. It's not exactly perfect, is it? But you'll get the idea. Now, terrible. But what we're really looking at here is we're looking at recommendations, we're looking at averages, all right? Now, believe it or not, and this is time on court, we'll call this per week. So as you can see, I'm doing this as I sort of go along. As a beginner, I don't recommend anybody play any competitive games as a beginner. All right, I think that's not a good thing to do. Before we get into all of the details here, let's talk about what we might define would be a team club player. Well, I would probably say that they represent their club at either regional, provincial, or county if you're in the UK sort of level. So they play in, you know, different county matches. They play in different inter-club matches. I would say that this person probably plays tournaments as well. So, you know, individual tournaments outside the club. I would say that they can play most shots as well, in the sense that, you know, they're not limited by the shots they can play most shots. How good they play those shots, I don't know. The next one will be club player. How would we define a club player? Well, we would say that they play within their club, you know, like leagues, etc. Leagues, can't spell leagues, there we go, leagues. And they may play team squash if the club is a very big club and they've got like a large number of teams. I played at a club once that had like 12 teams, team squash. So we'll just call that team squash. Here we can, how would we say that they could play? We'll probably say limited in corners. How about that? Now, an improver. We're running out of space, of course, on the page. Improver. We would say probably over 6 months playing. Limited shot and fitness level. Alright, and then the last one would be beginner. Okay, and I would say that it's essentially less than 6 months. Now I'm just guessing here. When I say guessing, I mean I'm just thinking about all the people, the hundreds of people that I've coached. Less than 6 months, very limited shots. Alright, so those are the definitions. Now, let me just reiterate, what I'm talking about here is averages, just ideas, alright? So, I wouldn't worry about a beginner doing any mental work. Notice I put a line here because I'm not worried about it. Here, I'm consciously saying, don't do it. Competitive games for a beginner, I know you want to do that as soon as possible, but it might actually limit your improvement. Alright, so what we're talking about as far as solo practice, which is where this came from, well, here I would say either between 2 or 3 sessions of about 20 minutes a week. Okay, now I know that could mean an hour practice for a beginner when they want to do other things. Well, yeah, because when you're a beginner, playing with other people can make it really hard to improve. What else would I like them to do? Well, I would love them to do 20 minutes of squad sessions where they're doing routines with people, obviously their own standard, trying to improve, just some simple things, maybe one straight, one cross court, one straight, one cross court. Would I like them to play a practice game? Yeah, of course I would. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't want them to play matches. I don't want them to play anything competitive that's got like, a tournament or anything like that. So what about fitness work? Well, I'm just going to put a line. The more fitness work you do, great, but I'm not really focused on that. And coaching, yeah, I would. I'd like them to have between 1 or 2 or 3 sessions of 30 minutes a week. Now that sounds like a lot. That's like 90 minutes coaching. But depending on your time scale and everything, that might work out. You should be getting coached regularly. The more often, the better. All right then, so what about an improver? Well, why don't I say, and I can't stress this enough, this is just a guideline. I mean, if somebody comes to me and says, oh, well, I play 7 times a week, I'm happy for you. But just as a guideline, I'd like to think that you practice for maybe you play 30 minutes of games a week. This is where you're just worried about, you're scoring it, but you're not particularly worried about winning or losing so much. It's more about putting into practice what you've learned during the week. Squad sessions, yeah, okay. Why not 30 minutes? I mean, that'd be quite good. I'd rather you did 30 minutes of that and 20 minutes of that than the other way around. Spend time improving. Solo practice. Yeah, okay, so I've got 2 or 3 times. Well, here, I'm going to put 3 or 4 times for 20 minutes. I must be crazy. I'm putting 3 or 4 times. Why more than a beginner? Well, a beginner can only improve so much, and sometimes doing too much will overload the system and the player will get too tired and maybe they'll get bored. So I'm actually suggesting more solo practice for an improver than I would a beginner, because at that point they know that they really want to play this game, and if you force a beginner to spend too much time on court on their own right at the beginning, that might, discourage them from wanting to play. What about fitness work? All right, okay, well, I would say maybe 2 sessions of 30 minutes. Now, if you don't think 30 minutes is very long, think again, because it can be. Coaching? 1 hour. Da, da, da. Why more than that? Well, again, because you don't want to overload somebody. You don't want to give them too much. I mean, I'm going to break my rule in the summer. I'm hoping to have like a series of coaching videos where I take somebody, a complete beginner, and I coach them for like 40 minutes every day for like a month. and see how quickly they can improve under the right circumstances. But an improver, an hour a day. All right then. So on to club players. Well, I'm just going to say between 1 and 2 matches a week. Don't know whether you agree or disagree, but that would be quite good. Now, 1 or 2 matches is quite a lot for a competitive, club league type situation. Practice games? Well, for practice games, I'm going to put 60 minutes. Sorry. 60 minutes might sound quite a long time, but you can spread that out. I mean, I'm not suggesting it has to be in 2 sessions. I mean, here I've specifically said that I'd like the beginners to not have too many sessions at once. Just because it's 3 doesn't mean they should do an hour in one go. Here, you can have a 60-minute court session practicing. Squad sessions, 60 minutes. Now, the shock horror should be that essentially so far, the squad sessions are the same as the practice sessions. I can't stress enough how important they are. Matches and playing games are really important, but so are those squad sessions. And here we go, on to solo practice, 1 hour. Now my videos are essentially aimed at this group. Oh, my pen doesn't work. This group of people. The team club, the club and the improver. Now I created these, I didn't create the improver, but what I'm saying is that there might be better terms that people are using nowadays, but those are what my videos are aimed for. I mean, pros can watch them and can benefit from them, and beginners can watch them and benefit from them too, but I'm really focused on those people. Fitness work, an hour. 1 hour again. 1 hour on doing fitness work, stretching, running, cycling, ghosting, maybe some resistance bands, some Swiss balls, some yoga, something. All right, so here we go for coaching. Well, I would go 30 minutes to 1 hour. So if you can do that, if you've got time for all of those things, we'll talk about that in a moment, then you could really be doing that. That would be really, really good. And we're now going to jump to the pros. And what we're going to talk about here is 4 to 5 hours per week. I would be, if I were working with any professionals now, I would be expecting them to spend a minimum of 1 hour a day on court on their own. I cannot stress how important that is for a number of reasons, mental strength being one of them. I'm not going to put what they do here because, to be honest, I haven't got that much experience, and it depends on the time of year and all sorts of things. But what we're really interested in is this number here. So now we're going to go on to team club player. So we're going to start with this, and I'm going to say between 60 to 90 minutes a week. A week, all right? That might mean that you get on court 3 times a week for 30 minutes. Might mean that you get on court 3 times a week for 20 minutes. But something like that. As a club player, the time kind of increases because the better you are, the more you should be practicing on your own. All right, what else? Fitness work? I'll say 2 hours. Okay? Now, over a week, that might be way too much for you, that might not be enough. Of course, you're going to be doing a lot of fitness work when you're on court and playing matches, but separate fitness work. Okay, so coaching, I'm going to shock you now. I'm going to say 30 minutes. It's less than the others. Why is it less than the others? Because I recognise that you'll be doing more things during the rest of the week. So there's no point in me putting 1 hour. And of course that depends on the type of year that you're doing it. So 30 minutes a week with a coach, if you're a team club player, will be enough to just work on a few different aspects. He or she will take you through some routines, tell you things that you should be working on. So that's really all you need. Now, I missed out the mental work. No mental work for an improver, not really too worried about that. 30 minutes for a club player and 30 minutes for a team club player. Now, what does that mean? Well, I'm talking about concentration exercises here. I'm talking about visualization, imagery, and I will be talking about those in future videos. So just know that you can do other things outside of the court. On to squad sessions. Squad session for a club player, 60 minutes. That's what I'm expecting them to do. Again, it could be, they could combine these. They could say, okay, well, I've got 30 minutes coaching, and then straight after that, I've got 30 minutes to working with my squad, my team mates, doing some routines. Practice games, 60 minutes. Sometimes it's to do with the intensity. You can't just keep increasing things here. And again, I'm probably only going to be talking here about 1 or 2 matches a week. You can't play more than 1 or 2 serious matches. Yes, you can play. I mean, that could be like 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours. Not everybody's got 8 hours a week to invest in their squash. So, just to finish with, these are guidelines. The more time you've got, the more time you can spend. But if you're a beginner and an improver, don't spend too long doing it, especially in one session. Try to do it spread out over the week. Now, as always, I can't give you an individual plan, and I hope that's given you some idea of the kind of things that you could be doing on court. Please feel free to ask any clarifying questions, and I'll do my best to answer those. Well, there it is. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It was just a very short video just to give you some idea. As I've said already, it's just a guideline. It's not going to be you have to do this. So, that's it. Thanks for watching, and remember, do something every single day for your squash. See ya!